What's a story, amigos? This is Kino with some cool stories for today's story time.
Today, Kino reads us the story of Regina and her big mistake.
It's not a mistake. I can fix it, muttered Regina. She started to draw a lion under the tree.
Then Robert Guillaume reads us the story of King, who could not tell a lie.
You did your best, son, and your best is good enough to present to the emperor.
A little girl tries to sleep in the bedtime story Annie Potts reads.
Cricket, said the night wind, will you please stop playing so Mockingbird will stop singing so the child can go to sleep?
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bain so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the annual financial support from viewers like you.
Oh, Kino! Hi!
Hi.
Look at these beautiful flowers. Oh, and they smell so nice. Take a sniff.
Yeah, nice. Better than my socks, anyway. And a lot better than my stupid flower.
What flower?
You promise not to laugh if I show you?
I promise.
Just a second.
Kino, it's your spring pageant costume. Oh, your flower looks great. Oh, you worked so hard on it.
I just hate it. I look like a tossed salad.
Oh, no, you don't. I think you look adorable. I mean, I think you look very handsome in it, Kino.
No, I don't. It's stupid.
Gee, I thought you were really looking forward to the spring pageant. You had fun working on your costume, didn't you?
Well, yeah, for a while. But then my big brother Nick saw it, and he said, "Whoa, Kino, nice salad. Please pass the dressing."
Oh.
So I took it off, and then it slipped out of my hand and fell in a puddle. And then I tripped a little bit and stepped on it. So it got all crunched up, and all the other kids have perfect ones, and mine just looks crummy and dumb. Everybody's gonna laugh at me. I'll probably forget the stuff I'm supposed to say, too.
Oh, Kino, I don't think so. And you know what? I think your flower doesn't look so bad. If you want, I can help you fix it up.
Well, I guess so.
Tell you what, why don't you read me a story while I get everything that we need to fix it up together? You know, reading usually calms you down, and I think you just might find this book familiar.
What's it called?
It's called Regina's Big Mistake, and it was written by Marissa Moss.
Okay. Everyone in Mrs. Lee's class got a piece of paper. Everyone was supposed to draw a jungle or a rainforest. That meant Regina, too. Regina stared at the big blank piece of paper in front of her. Her fingers froze on her crayon. Where should she begin? Stuart had already drawn 2 trees thick with leaves. Natalie was concentrating on a fierce lion. All around Regina, jungles sprouted up, but her paper stayed blank. "What are you making?" joked Joshua. "An invisible jungle? Ha, 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 ha." Regina blushed. She hunched over her paper and lightly touched it with the tip of her crayon. She started to draw a jungle flower. She drew 1 petal, then another. But the second petal was bigger than the first one. Regina groaned. A mistake. She tried to erase the second petal, but crayon doesn't erase, and she tore the paper instead. She crumpled it up quickly before anyone could see her ugly mistake. "What happened to your drawing?" asked Mrs. Lee. "I made a mistake," Regina mumbled. "Well, try to draw around it next time," said Mrs. Lee. "You're wasting paper." Regina smoothed her new piece of paper. Anything was possible as long as it was empty. But somehow, her hand could never draw what she saw in her head. Boy, I know that feeling, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Stuart's jungle was almost finished now, full of ripe, strange fruits and colorful birds. Natalie's lion stalked an antelope. Regina wanted to cry. She could never draw anything so beautiful. "Almost done?" asked Mrs. Lee. 10 more minutes." Regina picked up a brown crayon. She had to draw something. Carefully, she started to draw a tree like Stuart's. "Hey, don't copy me," he growled. "I'm not," said Regina, and she quickly drew 3 big branches on her tree. But those heavy branches made her tree look funny. Regina bit her lip. Was this another mistake? Could she draw around it like Mrs. Lee said? She looked again at the jungles growing around her. "It's not a mistake. I can fix it," muttered Regina. She started to draw a lion under the tree. "Copycat," said Natalie with a sneer. "I am not," Regina gulped. "My lion is different from yours." And she quickly drew a tongue hanging out of the lion's mouth.
Good idea.
Yeah, I'll say. "My lion's thirsty," said Regina. "He needs water." So she drew a lake, then a frog, some fish, and a duck to go in the lake, and some flowers alongside it. The jungle grew and grew until it filled the paper. Regina smiled. All her jungle needed now was a sun. She carefully drew a yellow circle, but the crayon wobbled, and the circle had a dent in it. "Oh, no! I've ruined it," she cried, just when it was getting good. "No more paper," warned Mrs. Lee. "You'll have to make the best of it." "Yeah," joked Joshua. "Just pretend it's a very lumpy banana." Oh, boy, that Joshua. Regina looked hard at the wobbly circle. It wasn't a sun, but it wasn't a lumpy banana either. Suddenly, she recognized what it was. It was a moon. She drew a face in her moon and surrounded it with stars and comets and a purple-black sky. "Wow," said Stuart. "What a great idea! A jungle at night! I wish I'd thought of that," said Natalie. Mrs. Lee tacked all the pictures up on the wall. "Good work, Regina," she said, smiling. "I love your moon." The jungles glowed with their bright colors. Each one was different. Each one was beautiful. And even with all her mistakes, Regina thought hers was perfect. Gosh, Regina was having a bad day, but she turned it into a good day.
That's right. But you know, I think we can turn this day into a good day, too.
Well, uncrunching my costume will be a good start.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me pull this off.
Got it.
Okay. Now you hold down this corner.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
I'll bend back the petals and the leaves where they're supposed to be.
Okay. Oh, I know. I'll color in the smudged part with that crayon.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But I'll tell you, I wish the pageant weren't tonight. I'm nervous about goofing up. And I really do look like a salad. Nick's right.
Oh, Kino, is Nick always right?
Well, no. Not always.
Well, wasn't he in the second grade once, too?
Oh, well, sure. Yeah, he... Hey, you know what? That means that Nick must have been a flower, too. The second grade is all flowers.
That's right. Oh, Kino, look at your flower. Ah, good as new. Good as new. Oh, Kino, that was a wonderful coloring job, too.
Thanks. Oh, gosh, I better head for the school. I don't want to be late.
Oh, that's right. The spring pageant is soon.
Oh, man, I'm still nervous. I have lines, you know. Not everybody has lines. If I forget what I'm supposed to say, it'll be terrible. I'll be so embarrassed.
Oh, Kino, I don't think you'll forget your lines. And you know what? I know you do your best, and that's what counts.
You know, that reminds me of that story called The Empty Pot.
Oh, that's the one about doing your best, right?
Yeah, that was really a cool story with a cool ending. Mr. Guillaume read it to his daughter Rachel and her friends and to me when he took us to the big flower park.
That's right.
Oh, well. Here I go, Mara. See you later.
Oh, Kino, good luck. I know you are going to be wonderful.
Okay. Well, spring pageant, here I come. Oh, and while I'm gone, you all should check out The Empty Pot, too. I know you'll like it. See ya.
Oh, isn't this a beautiful park, guys?
Yeah.
What do you think of those daffodils over there?
Oh,
Pretty.
yeah, they're pretty. Daffodils, chrysanthemums. Boy, flowers sure have weird names sometimes, huh?
Not chrysanthemums.
Chrysanthemums.
Chrysanthemum. Yeah. So, do you know a flower, Rachel?
A tulip.
A tulip.
yeah.
What about you, Emily?
Daisy.
Daisy, and
yeah.
you, sweetheart? You, Aaron?
Rose.
Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah, or an impatience.
Impatient. Well, that's what I am sometimes, especially when it's time for stories.
No, Kino.
The flower.
The flower called impatience.
Oh, yeah, there's a flower called an impatience.
Yeah. Well, we've been on a nice long walk, and I think it's about time. I think we've earned ourselves the right to hear a story. And I brought along my favorite story. It's called The Empty Pot, and it's written and illustrated by Demi. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
You ready? Here we go. A long time ago in China, there was a boy named Ping who loved flowers. Anything he planted burst into bloom. Up came flowers, bushes, and even big fruit trees, as if by magic. Everyone in the kingdom loved flowers, too. They planted them everywhere, and the air smelled like perfume. The emperor loved birds and animals, but flowers most of all, and he even tended his own garden every day. But the emperor was very old. He needed to choose a successor to the throne. Who would his successor be? And how would the emperor choose? Because the emperor loved flowers so much, he decided to let the flowers choose. The next day, a proclamation was issued. All the children in the land were to come to the palace. There they would be given special flower seeds by the emperor. Whoever can show me their best in a year's time, he said, will succeed me to the throne. This news created great excitement throughout the land. Children from all over the country swarmed to the palace to get their flower seeds. All the parents wanted their children to be chosen emperor, and all the children hoped that they would be chosen too, of course, huh? When Ping received his seed from the emperor, he was the happiest child of all. He was sure he could grow the most beautiful flower. Ping filled a flower pot with rich soil. He planted the seed in it very carefully. He watered it every day. He couldn't wait to see it sprout, to grow and blossom into a beautiful flower. Well, day after day passed, but nothing grew in his pot. Ping was very worried. He put new soil into a bigger pot. Then he transferred the seed into the rich black soil. Another 2 months he waited. 2 months, can you believe it? Still, nothing happened. By and by, the whole year passed. Spring came, and all the children put on their best clothes to greet the emperor. They rushed to the palace with their beautiful flowers, eagerly hoping to be chosen. Ping was ashamed of his empty pot. He thought the other children would laugh at him because for once, he couldn't get a flower to grow. His clever friend ran by, holding a great big plant. Ping, he said, you're not really going to the emperor with an empty pot, are you? Couldn't you grow a great big flower like mine? I've grown lots of flowers better than yours, Ping said. It's just this seed won't grow. Ping's father overheard this and said, you did your best, son, and your best is good enough to present to the emperor. Holding the empty pot in his hands, Ping went straight away to the palace. The emperor was looking at all the flowers, slowly, one by one. How beautiful all the flowers were. But the emperor was frowning and did not say a word. Finally, he came to Ping. Ping hung his head in shame, expecting to be punished. The emperor asked him, why did you bring an empty pot? Ping started to cry and replied, I planted the seed you gave me and I watered it every day, but it didn't sprout. I put in a better pot with better soil, but still, it didn't sprout. I tended it all year long, but nothing grew. So today I had to bring an empty pot without a flower. It was the best I could do. When the emperor heard these words, a smile slowly spread over his face, and he put his arm around Ping. Then he exclaimed to one and all, I have found him. I have found the one person worthy of being emperor. Where you other people got your seeds from, I do not know. For the seeds I gave you had all been cooked, so it was impossible for any of them to grow. I admire Ping's great courage to appear before me with the empty truth. And now I reward him with my entire kingdom and make him emperor of all the land.
Well, thanks for reading the story, Mr. Guillaume.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Thank you. So, hey, guys, come on, let's go check out the gladiolas.
Okay, and how about the snapdragons? Do the snapdragons bite?
Oh, come on.
Oh, I'll get the lights. Kino, your pageant was really fun.
That was so cool. I didn't forget my lines or anything.
No, you sure didn't. You were magnificent.
Oh, you sure were, Kino.
Oh, well, thanks. And I don't look like a tossed salad either.
Oh, no, you don't look anything like a tossed salad. Were you a little nervous?
Oh, well, I guess a little bit at first, but after I started to talk and got through the first couple of lines, I knew that I could do it.
I knew you could, too.
Annie, here's that book you wanted.
Oh, thank you.
Oh. Come on, let's sit down and...
Why don't you sit
Yeah,
down?
sit down, Jake. Let's read the book.
You know, this book's kind of like Kino's spring pageant. It's full of music and singing and dancing, and it's also A good night book.
Well, this is one of those times when bedtime sounds kind of nice.
Kino, why don't you and Jake both kind of snuggle up close here?
Okay, yeah.
Like we do with books before we go to bed. And we'll read this book. And the name of this book is Wind Says Goodnight by Katie Rydell with illustrations by David Jorgensen. Let's read it. Okay. It was late at night. All little children were in their beds fast asleep, all except one. The night wind brushed against a window. Shh, whispered the wind. Go to sleep. But the child could not fall asleep. Outside, on the branch of a tree, Mockingbird was singing. Mockingbird, said the night wind, will you stop singing so the child can go to sleep? But Mockingbird loved to sing. Music spilled from deep in his throat as he sang of green woods, bright flowers, and warm summer nights. No, said Mockingbird, I can't stop singing until Cricket stops playing. From the tall grass by the back steps came the cheerful ring of Cricket's tune. Cricket, said the night wind, will you please stop playing so Mockingbird will stop singing so the child can go to sleep? But Cricket didn't want to stop playing. His toes were tapping, his coattails flapping as the melody flowed from his fiddle strings. No, said Cricket, I can't stop playing until Frog stops strumming. Frog, said the night wind, will you please stop strumming so Cricket will stop playing, so Mockingbird will stop singing, so the child can go to sleep. But Frog was deep in the swing, lost in the beat with a night full of rhythm in his hands and feet. No, said Frog, I can't stop strumming until Moth stops dancing. Moth, said the night wind, will you stop dancing so Frog will stop strumming, so Cricket will stop playing, so Mockingbird will stop singing, so the child can go to sleep? But Moth loved to dip and twirl on widespread wings by moonlight. Impossible, said Moth. The night is too beautiful. I can't stop dancing until Moon stops shining. Moon, said the night wind, will you stop shining? So Moth will stop dancing, so Frog will stop strumming, so Cricket will stop playing, so Mockingbird will stop singing, so the child can go to sleep. But Moon's glow was so strong, it turned the green meadow grass to silver. Hard to do, said Moon, hard to do. I can't stop shining unless there's a change in the weather. Far to the west hovered a small, dark shadow. Cloud, called the night wind, will you cover the earth? So Moon will stop shining, so Moth will stop dancing, so Frog will stop strumming, so Cricket will stop playing, so Mockingbird will stop singing, so the child can go to sleep. Only if you carry me, said Cloud. In a rush of cool air, the night wind scooped up Cloud, and soon a mist spread over the meadow. A gentle rain began to fall, tumbling down through the dark, splashing on the flat bay waters, skipping on the warm green earth. Moon stopped shining. Moth stopped dancing. Frog stopped strumming. Cricket stopped playing. Mockingbird stopped singing. At last, the night was dark and quiet and still. And the child snuggled under warm blankets,
closed tired eyes and went to sleep.
Good night, then. Yay! Yeah, that was a good book, Kino.
That was a good book, Jake. I like that story. Everything was connected. The cricket and the wind and the moon and the frog and the moth.
And did it make you sleepy and think about going to sleep?
Yeah. Say, as a matter of fact, I better head for home. It's getting late.
You're right. It is. Oh, let's not forget our story picks. Guess what? I have chosen some very special bedtime stories for our story picks.
Oh, okay.
Probably stories we'll read when we're not so tired. Here's a good book, a favorite of mine, actually. Good Night, Moon.
This book called about Good Night, Moon.
Good night, moon. Yeah.
Thank you, Jake, for helping me with that. And, I've got to tell you about this other story pick that I have, and I think this is something that everybody loves. It's called K is for Kiss Goodnight. Can you give your mommy a goodnight kiss? Oh, so sweet. Good night.
Oh, and remember, everybody, keep a story in your heart. Oh, man, I am too pooped to pop. Good night, Jake. Good night, Annie.
Oh, good night.
Good night, Mara. Good night, Win. Good night.
Today's Storytime books are Regina's Big Mistake by Marissa Moss, The Empty Pot by Demi, Wind Says Goodnight, written by Katie Rydell, illustrated by David Jorgensen, Good Night Moon by Margaret Wise Brown, illustrated by Clement Hurd, and K is for Kiss Goodnight, written by Jill Sardinia, illustrated by Michael Hayes. You can find these and other books at your local library.
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bain, so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the annual financial support from viewers like you. Storytime is a production of KCET Los Angeles.